Hello everyone and welcome back. It is me, your friendly blue mage Azrain, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit off the cuff, just kind of unscripted. I am a huge fan of the Fallout series, so I am super excited that we are getting 4 Fallout themed commander decks, and with the recent spoilers, there's only been a little bit. But I want to go ahead and, at least in this video, I want to talk about the legendary creatures, the face commanders of these 4 decks, and whatever other legends have been spoiled at this time. I'm hoping to keep up with this just because I love Fallout. I want to just talk about the cards, what they do, and how cool I think they are. So, maybe we'll talk about the rares at some point, but I'm sure there's going to be a ton of those. So for now, we are just going to focus on the legendary creatures. And to get started, we will look at everybody's faithful companion. We are going to take a look at the Scrappy Survivors deck, led, at least in the face commander, by Dogmeat Everloyal. So Dogmeat Everloyal is 3 mana. He is Naya, which is red, green, and white for a 3/3 dog. When Dogmeat enters the battlefield, we mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from our graveyard to our hand. Whenever a creature you control, enchanted or equipped, attacks, create a junk token. And a junk token is an artifact with tap and sacrifice this artifact, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn, activate only as a sorcery. So I like Dogmeat for what he is. The artwork, all the art on these is great. So this is obviously Dogmeat from what would be Fallout 4. In Fallout 3 he was kind of like gray, but still like the same kind of dog, but this definitely looks like a more Fallout 4 inspired design. But he's 3 mana for a 3/3. When he enters, we mill, and then we can return something. And so the interesting thing about this is that it doesn't say whenever he mills us, we can only return from the milled cards. We can just return from our graveyard. So obviously our Naya deck is going to be chock full of auras and equipments, because that's what Dogmeat rewards us for. And it's nice that we don't have to rely on hitting from the 5, so we don't have to do much top deck manipulation. And Dogmeat also just says whenever a creature attacks that's equipped. So it's not specifically him, because I know that decks that usually kind of fall down this line kind of go towards a little bit more Voltron-y stuff where, whenever Dogmeat attacks, if he's equipped. And this just makes it so it's easier for us to get the payoff of Dogmeat, which is an impulse draw effect. So we're going to have to get rid of the junk only at sorcery speed, but then we get to dig into the top of our library. It says you may play that card, so if we're missing our land drops, we can make sure to do the junk, hit our land, then we can just try and get into more spells, as we exile off the top of our library. So far, Dogmeat Everloyal, great start. And next, we are going to move over to the Mutant Menace commander deck that is led by the Wise Mothman, and I can only assume that this was in Fallout 76, which is a game that I did not play. I know that it is kind of come into a little bit of a resurgence, so if you are a Fallout 76 fan, more power to you. But anyway, the Wise Mothman leading the mutant deck is going to be Sultai, so he is 1 black, green, blue for a 3/3 of flying. Whenever the Wise Mothman enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter, and so rad counters are new for the Fallout decks, and so what rad counters do: at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, mill that many cards. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and lose a rad counter. So these things kind of like build up, and then on our pre-combat main phase, they're going to go away, but it is going to cause us to mill. So pretty good colors to be in with things like Muldrotha and the Mimeoplasm. Sultai is just kind of graveyard centric is what it seems like it wants to do all the time. So the other part of the Wise Mothman, whenever 1 or more non-land cards are milled, put a +1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. So it's kind of like mill and go wide counters. Not super excited for the Wise Mothman. I mean, this just isn't really my strategy of how I like to play. It's mill can be kind of fun, counters can be kind of fun. It seems weird that it's kind of split in these 2 directions, but still, it's going to be a fun deck with all the mutants, such as like feral ghouls and things found throughout the waste, death claws, and I'm assuming we'll see some Yao Guai. And I'm interested to see it. So this is the Mutant Menace, and I'm curious to see if we're going to see super mutants in this deck, or if we will see super mutants in the next one that we're going to talk about, which is the Precon Hail Caesar, which is led by none other than Caesar himself. But the reason why I say this before we get too far into talking about Caesar is Hail Caesar. It's kind of weird that the first one is going to be all about like the Scrappy Survivors of the Waste, the next one is all about the mutants, and then the Legion just gets one of its own. So I'm kind of assuming that this one, Hail Caesar, is going to be devoted to the villains, like the main villains of the Fallout franchise. So maybe the super mutants will be in this deck, or will they be in the mutant deck? We don't know. Leave your guess in the comments below. So Caesar, Legion's Emperor, who this is probably my favorite spoiled face commander of the bunch, but Caesar's 4 mana, 1 in Mardu, so red, white, black for a 4/4. And he's very similar to Dogmeat, where he says whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature. Can be a token, so keep that in mind. When you do, choose 2. Create 2 1/1 red, white soldier creature tokens with haste that are tapped and attacking. Or you draw a card and lose 1 life. Or Caesar, Legion's Emperor, deals damage equal to the number of creature tokens you control to target opponent. So again, Caesar's just really versatile. He's got a big body, being at 4/4. And whenever we attack, we may sacrifice another creature. So there's kind of a lot of things to go into this. Whenever we attack, we can attack with 1 creature, or we can swing out with our whole army. You may sacrifice another creature. He does not say that we have to sacrifice an attacking creature, so haste doesn't really matter when we're thinking about sacrificing something that just entered that we want to get rid of. And when we do, we get to choose 2 of these effects. So it says choose 2. So we have to choose. We can either grow our board state, we can make more tokens for Caesar to deal more damage, or we can draw cards, if we need that early game, and then we can just start hopefully knocking people out with Caesar's last ability, where he deals damage to the number of creature tokens we control. So this deck sounds like it's going to be your classic drain and gain token strategy. Red's there to give everything haste, and we can go wide. You deal damage with things like Perforos, Warstorm, Surge, Impact, Tremors, and then just kind of, we're going to have our token doublers in white, Anointed Procession in Mondrak, and then our drain and gain in black, being things like Zulaport, Cutthroat, and the Blood Artist. And the last one that we are going to talk about is the Science deck, which I'm assuming is going to be the most hype for players and fans of the Fallout series. So this one is led by Dr. Madison Lee, the person who obviously worked with the Brotherhood of Steel to bring back Liberty Prime in Fallout 3 and to rebuild him with the player character in Fallout 4. So Madison Lee's got some pretty sweet artwork here, and she's 3 mana for a 2/3, and she deals with energy. So what else would the Science deck deal with? And I actually really like that they're bringing energy back. I think that's actually super cool. So whenever we cast an artifact spell, we gain an energy counter. We can tap Dr. Madison Lee, pay 1 energy, target creature gets 1/0 and gains trample and haste. So pretty good. Our commander can give keywords and a little power boost. We can pay 3 energy, and draw a card, or we can pay 5 energy and return target artifact card from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So Dr. Madison Lee, clearly an artifact deck, and so what's nice about Dr. Madison Lee is that we don't have to devote a lot of time and energy into gaining energy counters. Our commander is just going to give us those energy counters naturally as we are playing our artifacts. So not something of a lot of note here with Dr. Madison Lee. It seems like a solid card, but just a pretty straightforward strategy. So after Dr. Madison Lee, we are just going to go through. At this time, there are 2 other legends that have been spoiled as well. And the first one is going to be Rex Cyberhound. So this is blue-white, which can only fit into the Science deck. And I mean, he's a robot dog with an exposed brain. So anyway, you'd assume he'd be in the Science deck. He is 3 mana, 1 white, blue for a 2/2. Whenever Rex Cyberhound deals combat damage to a player, they mill 2 cards, and we get 2 energy. Then Rex says, pay 2 energy, choose target creature in a graveyard, exile it with a brain counter on it, activate only as a sorcery, so make sure that you do this after combat on your turn when Rex gives you that 2 energy. Rex has all activated abilities of all cards in exile with brain counters on them. So, we've seen this effect a few times with things like Agatha's Soul Cauldron and definitely with Marisol the Pretender. So stealing the abilities of other creatures can make for one super creature that our opponents never really intended on us having. So Rex seems cool. He's cheap, low mana cost, low power and toughness, so we're probably going to want to put some evasion on him, but he's a good way to either gain energy counters for our main commander, Dr. Lee, or we can just use his energy counters right away and do some graveyard hate. Lastly, the last legendary creature that we are going to talk about is going to be Mr. House, President and CEO. So again, this is what I said. So Mr. House is in the Hail Caesar deck, but obviously Mr. House is his own faction in Fallout New Vegas. So that's why I'm assuming that the Hail Caesar deck is just going to be all the villains or something along those lines, all the big name players along the Fallout series. So I don't know why they wouldn't have named it something surrounding the villains, but they clearly named it after Caesar himself. But anyway, Mr. House, President and CEO, is just 3 mana. He is Mardu, red, white, and black for his 0/4. Whenever you roll a 4 or higher, create a 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature token. If you rolled a 6 or higher, instead create a token and create that token and a treasure token. Pay 4 mana, tap Mr. House, roll a 6-sided die plus an additional 6-sided die for each mana from treasures spent to activate this ability, so you can roll up to 4. Roll a 6-sided die plus an additional 6-sided die, so you could roll 5 if you pay 4 mana all from treasures, because you get the initial one and then 4 extras. So Mr. House, that seems pretty cool. Maybe with some untapping shenanigans we can make sure to keep abusing that. And I know that a lot of cards from the D&D set have us rolling dice. So notice how Mr. House says whenever you roll a 4 or higher. It doesn't say whenever you roll a D6 if it is a 4 or higher. So maybe from the D&D set, if we can roll some D20s, pretty much going to roll 4 or higher pretty consistently. You know, things like all the ancient dragons that allow us to roll d20s when they deal damage, and I know that there are some other effects that allow us to roll dice, and especially with effects that say if you roll a dice you roll 2 instead. You know, that could just get really busted with Mr. House making our nice little robot here. And yeah, I think that is going to wrap it up for this video. I do want to highlight, I'm not exactly sure what these are from. I'll find it out and put it on screen, but they are the Fallout themed cards, kind of like a secret layer in the 5 that we see right now. Our Arcane Signet with the Vault Boy on the Pip Boy. We get Crucible of Worlds, which is the Vault Boy holding up a Gek, which is perfect. Soul Ring, just, you know, standing in front of the vault. Wasteland, what a more perfect art depiction along with the card. And the last one is the Intelligence bobblehead, which I'm assuming is going to be in the precons, but these seem to be serialized. There are 500 it looks like, so it's 3 mana, add 1 mana of any color, so Commander Sphere, and then pay 5 mana and tap the bobblehead. Draw X cards where X is the number of bobbleheads you control. So I can see that being pretty cool. I like that they're working in the bobblehead mechanic, as it's a pretty important thing throughout the games to collect, and so it'll be nice to kind of collect them on the battlefield as well. But like I said, that is going to do it for at least this part 1 of going over the legendary creatures of the new Fallout decks. I am your friendly Blue Mage. If you like what I'm trying to do here, press that like button, comment, make sure to subscribe. My goal is 1,000 subscribers. We are almost there, so check me out. I've been streaming when I can during the week. We stream Commander Gameplay Live. If you want to figure out how to join those, or if you just want to come talk to me over on Discord, you can make sure to join the Discord. That'll be in the description of this video and in a link in my bio here on YouTube. So come join our community where we talk all things Magic the Gathering. We plan streams for the week and we just have a good time. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.